Okay, looks like the microphone's working again. So, ooh, man. Okay. Okay, so for those of you that are watching this after the fact, because I know at least one person said she was going to watch this on her own time. Um, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. But there is some lore to the best memories video as well. Oh, good. Welcome back, William. So I just realized that whole time that I was telling you the lore of the best games video, but I didn't tell you why the best memories one took an entire year. Um, for the best memories, that was more so of just compiling them. There was a bit where Isabel and I needed to arrange that compilation for like when we said like Paul's favorite costumes, Isabel's favorite costumes, she had to make a special screen for each of us individually with our theme songs abridged. And then she had to like do a side by side where she had like herself in the costume and the reference picture. And then she had to edit in the music choices, which I wanted there to be different music choices for both of us. And then I wanted her to list who the character was and where the costume was from. And then like each of us had like different edits for her poses because like I'm more of a I don't really like it when girls face away from the camera in my videos because guys can be creepy when girls are facing away from it. So I wanted as much front facing shots as possible, but then Isabel wasn't quite as picky. She did a couple of spins. So we each had to like coordinate our own thing. So that involved like looking through the footage of our entire behind the scenes video, which was like 52 minutes long, and determining, okay, this little section here is what I want. And then I had to edit sections of the body positivity video. And then I didn't have enough time or I didn't have enough footage to keep that section going. So I had to like make my speech super brief. And then then I had to edit together all the skits, which that was another reason why the best games video took so long was that a couple of my reviews this year, Isabel had acted out certain characters from those games as the introduction to the games. And the original plan was that I was going to have that be like the new stage curtain standard, like how she dressed up in a costume for each game. But then she said that she wanted to transition to more behind the scenes work. So I said, well, I guess I'll just include a collection of those. So then there was the um, editing those skits so that it was in sync with my voice. Then there was picking out the audio tracks, but then I also said that I wanted my friends to pick out the audio tracks for each of their sections. Then there was figuring out which would be the most appropriate footage to use in each scene. So like for example, when I did my reconciliation with Ashley, I asked her, okay, what music would you like and what footage would you like? So I gave her a list of the games that I reviewed and I said like pick games that you'd like to see. So then it was a matter of like finding footage from each of those reviews and then arranging it in such a way that it wasn't too much but it wasn't too little. And then there was the then I thought, oh, well, Matt and Danielle are watching this and I know they don't like scary stuff. So then let's re-edit all of that work to compile the footage and make it so that it's not scary but still pleasing to Ashley. And then there were some friends that were slow. So then I had to poke and prod them like, hey, I still need your music tracks by the end of the year. Please don't be lazy. Just pick 3 music tracks. It's not that hard. So then there was that amount of prodding and poking that I had to do. And then there was like compiling highlight reels. So like compiling highlights for the Danielle Friendversary, for the Matt Hangout, for the Tyria Hangout. And then I had also compiled a bunch of highlights for the Easter Vigil. Not a single one of them made it in because I was running out of time. So all that work, I had like over an hour's worth of like the best songs for the Easter Vigil. None of it made it into the final product. Yeah. Yeah, I go crazy for my end of year videos. I am not saying that to invalidate your criticism. I just wanted to put into perspective why they took so long to make and why like those kinds of like very like 1 or 2 word comments are really discouraging because it's like you can say the video's bad, you can say the video's good, but generic stuff like cool videos, just like after an entire year of work, that's all you had to say. If I told you what I just told you guys, would you still say that? That was the mindset I was trying to get into. And to be fair, I'm sure that's the dilemma that game companies face too. Because Metroid Prime 4 took, I think it was like 8 years to make, and all these people are complaining about it. And to be fair, I think a lot of them are valid criticisms, but I'm sure there's at least a handful of people at Retro that are like, after 8 years of us putting in so much work, the game only has an 80 on Metacritic. Why do you guys hate all the effort we put into it? But here's the thing, is it good effort, or was it a waste of time? Eh, you know what? That's totally valid of an opinion. But here's the thing. In previous videos, I did try to make the reviews less generic, but I realized that that took up too much time. And I also realized that a lot of them would spoil the games. So I told myself that I was not going to put in all those like extra bits. Like in 2023, for example, I had bits where I would like talk about my favorite parts of each game that were a bit later because I wanted the footage to be early enough in the video that um, people wouldn't get spoiled if they wanted to play the game for themselves. But then I had to put a timestamp in there, and I just realized that that was such a slog, and no one commented on the spoilers. So I was like, well, the video was too long and people didn't care about that, so maybe I shouldn't do that. And so I thought, okay, for 2024, I want to make them less generic. So let's put in the stage play, let's put in the skits and point out all the Paul humor. And this year I tried to do more of that, but sometimes it's harder than you think when you're on the spot. Like I had this whole thing planned where I was going to stop talking during the Deltarune section and say, they even put in a reference to Putt Putt Joins the Parade. And I was just going to roll the clip that I did in my Deltarune and Putt Putt Joins the Parade reference video, where I had a clip of Putt Putt mowing the lawn in that game and then Chris mowing the lawn. But then I just completely forgot. But the Deltarune section alone was, whew, let me tell you, that was probably the most painful editing I've ever had to do on this channel, besides my Danganronpa reviews. Those were a nightmare to make. And that's why when I reviewed Danganronpa 2x2, I'm just going to edit the new scenario because I'm like, no way am I going to re-edit that first trial all over again. That took me like 2 hours to do. Really? Really? Spoilers make people enjoy the story more. Interesting. I will keep that in mind for next year's video, because if that's what people really want, then I'll do it. I just didn't want to make people feel bad, because I'm a spoiler phobe when I do my reviews. I do not want people to know too much information, and um, I usually make it a rule that I don't show footage beyond like the first 2 levels usually. Like if it's a game like New Super Mario Bros. U where the levels are over in a couple of seconds, maybe I won't go past like the first or second worlds. But like it's always very early footage that I try to do, except for AI the Somnium Files because the footage was so inappropriate. So I just put in the Minecraft section because I figured there's not really any spoiler story bits really in there, so I think even if technically it's a spoiler, no one would know what the heck was going on anyway. New fan. Thank you, John. Which video are you talking about? Because I just put out two videos on the same day. I put out one for unwrapping the Noah and Mio amiibo, and then one with my best memories, which technically I put out the best memories video quite a bit earlier for my friends. I gave everyone who was involved with the video early access, and just about all of them really liked it. I figured get out the people that are going to like it first and then wait for the lion's den, that is the comment section, to come in. People were spoiled about a movie. The appraisal is higher than that didn't know the story. Okay. Well, if even one person disagrees with that, I am going to want to keep that in mind. So I'll probably do like some kind of a poll or a community post just to make sure that my audience agrees with that study. But for those of you that came in that weren't here during part one, the point of this stream was originally that I just wanted to vent my frustrations at, my phone call being canceled, and something I forgot to mention in part one. A lot of people have been coming on to my channel and saying, hey, I saw an Instagram reel of you. And at first I was like, oh, that's so nice. It's nice to know that people are coming to my channel for something other than that stupid video that we will pretend never existed. So then I asked, oh, well, could you tell me the name of the Instagrammer? And not a single person responded. There were people that liked my comment, but that just made me even more angry because I was like, if you can like the comment, why can't you respond to it? So then I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to do the work myself because people don't know how to respond. And hey, you know what? Even if you using that as an intro to my channel, that is really cool. I'm glad you were able to do that, John. Hey, if you can't watch the whole thing, that's totally cool. Most of my audience skims my videos anyway, so I kind of figured you guys would do the same thing. But at the same time, deep down inside, I was hoping people wouldn't skim the best games video because it was meant to be this like big, grand, like overall picture of like it was secretly supposed to be like a farewell to Isabelle, but I didn't want to overtly say it until the end so that it had like a proper shock factor. That's why I deliberately put in the music from Professor Layton and the Unwound Future near the end because I wanted to evoke that game's ending, which I will not spoil if you guys haven't played that game for yourself, but that is an ending that still gives me chills to this day because it's so bittersweet. And I said, that's the exact emotion that I'm trying to get out of my audience. But notice how I said bittersweet, not tragedy, because then we did the big and small music video as like a happy tribute. That was another case of very careful editing, of being like, okay, I need to pick out the absolute top tier moments of me hugging Isabelle at just the right time so that it can feel like it's in sync with the words and that it doesn't feel romantic. Because that was another thing, was I've I didn't want people to think that Isabelle and I were dating. We've never been dating. We've always been friends. Never even asked her out for that matter. That's why I was very careful to say friendship is important on the thumbnails because I wanted people to think that Isabelle was an equal among all of my other friends. But then when she made the announcement that she was stepping down, I realized there's no way I'm going to get around this. There's got to be some kind of closing remark. So then I added in at the last minute a lot of like, Isabelle, what the heck jokes to sort of like emphasize the friendly rivalry that you get when you work together. So that's why you had like for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, it started out with footage from my Wii review. And that was actually all me, but I pretended like it was Isabelle's fault to kind of like give you guys an idea of like what we were missing out on. So like there were all these subtle little touches of like where I wanted people to think that it was a send-off to her while also being a best game celebration. Yes, unfortunately, she did. She finished up just enough of her project so that my end of year video still looked semi-professional. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. At this point in my life, I don't think I'm ever going to get married. I just, every time I go over it in my head, I think of more negatives than positives. I'm not completely against the idea. I'll just need divine intervention. I'm going to need God to give me a huge sign that I need to get married because obviously I never want to turn down God. And that's why I got together with my first girlfriend, was I thought he wanted me to be with her. If it hadn't been for him saying that, I probably would never have I probably wouldn't have dated her. Boy, am I glad that I broke up with her. Ugh, that was a mess. All right, I missed a couple of chats. You've seen the reels around? Yes, I know. I forgot to say that story, but yes. Oh, yes. Once I did find out, I told that Instagrammer to take it down. I don't know if that person's going to listen to me, but hopefully, the next time someone comments and said, "Yo, I found you through a reel," I'll be like, "I told that Instagrammer to take it down. I guess they didn't listen." Why what, William? I'm sorry, I missed the context. Yes, be fruitful and multiply. That is very true. But that doesn't mean you should be fruitful and multiply with every single person that comes your way. And Jesus did have a teaching where he said that there are some people who are celibates for the kingdom. And honestly, I feel like my celibacy is is helping me to be a better friend to people, because if I'm not bogged down by like a commitment to like a wife and kids, then I can be more attentive to the needs of my friends. I can just drop everything like that and be like, if you're sick, I will do whatever I can to be there for you. And not everyone is called to do that, but maybe I am. Okay. Why won't you tie the knot? Um, it's a long story, William, and I don't think I'm willing to get into that. Um, there's a bunch of different ways of wording that, John. It depends on the translation. Some will flat out say eunuchs, but Jesus did not mean it literally. He meant it as talking about how like there are people that take vows of celibacy, and that's a good thing because back in Jesus's time, it was kind of a disgrace to be childless. And Jesus is coming along being like, when I come in, there are going to be people that are going to be happy that they are single. So I was just going by the translation that I went by. But Jesus's words can be difficult at times. Plus, even if I wanted to date right now, there's no girl that I'm currently interested in. And even if there was a girl that I'm interested in, they're all unavailable. Because all of my female friends right now are either dating, engaged, married, or asexual. So, yes, another person who's single and happy with it. Very nice. But yeah, like, there was a period in my life where I wanted a girlfriend. I think it was around 2012 that I started realizing that I wanted to date. But then once I started going to the dermatologist, um, she gave me this medication. I won't say what the medication was for, but she gave me this medication to help with dermatology related stuff. And she said that it might cause some side effects because it's a testosterone manager. And I think that caused me to start having a lower sex drive. I don't know. I have no idea. But it just seems like the timing was a little bit too perfect. Well, I'm glad that I was able to help you continue your faith, John. But what I made a video where I talked about why I deleted that video. So I don't want to repeat myself. You can go ahead and watch that if you want the full answer. But short version, I have other thanking God for it videos that are still up. So if people are really all about the message and the positivity of that video, they have equivalents. It's just that those videos weren't memed. 1 Corinthians 7. Proof text. Uh, Sorry, I once again lost the context. Um, I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I talk too much, but that's what I that's what I like and don't like about these live streams. I wish there was a way that you guys could like chime in with your actual voices. I just don't know how to do that, and I don't think YouTube has an option for that yet. But voluntary celibacy, gotcha. Um, I think St. Paul was a voluntary celibate as well. I don't think that's why I was named Paul, though. I'd have to ask my parents about that. But yeah, I'm at this point in my life, I'm happy to be single. If I wasn't a Catholic, I would absolutely just say, like, to heck with marriage. Can't stand all the wedding stuff. Like, I've literally told my friends that that's like a boundary. I tell them, do not tell me about any of your wedding plans because weddings stress the heck out of me. Like, the amount of unnecessary fluff and symbolism that people put into them is insane. And then the budgets that they go through for like the cake alone, I'm just like, you wonder why America is so poor if you're going to be wasting your money on stuff like that. I don't know, William. I'd have to study scripture a bit more, but I'm pretty sure he was a celibate because he needed to travel to all these different countries. You know, like when he was writing those letters, he probably visited those places. And if he had a wife, he probably wouldn't have been able to take her around because, I don't know, maybe she would have gotten pregnant. And, you know, there would be a lot of troubles if he had a wife with that ministry. Stone Cold True Cell? Oh, that kind of True Cell. But yeah, when I had my ex-girlfriend, I actually did buy an engagement ring for her. I was at a conference I was chaperoning, and that conference had quite a lot of booths. And one of the booths was a chastity booth where it was, I believe her name was Emily Wilson, and she was like a famous chastity speaker for young women. And so I went up to her booth and I said, "Hey, I'm trying to I'm trying to live the chaste life with my girlfriend right now, and I would like to ask her to marry me, but I want to get the ring from your booth because I want her to recognize the symbolism of our chastity." And you know, I got a picture with this Emily Wilson person and everything, and unfortunately, I ended up losing the ring. Maybe I wasn't the most romantic guy in the. To be fair to me, though, I had a backpack full of plenty of other trinkets that I got from that conference, so it was to be expected that it would get lost in with everything else. Like, I didn't really have something special to keep it in. Like, I don't think she intended for any of those rings to be engagement rings. I think they were meant to be chastity rings. But I said, I think she would like the symbolism of the fact that, like, I saved myself for her and I, you know, was willing to wait until marriage and, you know, all that beautiful stuff. And then stuff happened in our relationship. But, you know, we're still friends. We don't talk much anymore, but I think that's because she has ADHD more than any of our arguments. Because whenever we do talk, she's always very, very positive, and like obviously she's not flirtatious anymore, but she's nice. She's no worries, Red. I know my boundaries. I know my boundaries. But yeah, we still talk every now and then. And you know, I did forgive her for all that went on in our relationship. So that's another thing that I've been trying to tell people is like, if you have problems with your ex, like, don't hold on to it. That's just going to cause more harm than good. Like, if something comes up that if something comes up that reminds you of your ex, you're probably going to get some kind of pain by association. Like, your chest might start hurting, or you might have, you know, these bad thoughts. But if you forgive someone, then that pretty much completely goes away. Like, now, whenever I try to Let's not call names here, William. Yes, I did go to Mass yesterday, John, and it was very nice. I'm not a big fan of the church around here, if I'm being honest. So it was nice to go to a church where the priest actually took the consecration seriously. Ugh. I better not say anymore, but if I had my way, my current church would not be where I go, but it's the most convenient. It's the closest to my house, and I'm not much of a morning person, so when like I used to go to the church that was farther away, it would take too long to get back so that I could take my nap. So I just said, "Okay, I will suffer through this insane local parish so that I can get home and take my nap sooner." But you know what, guys? Credit where credit is due. All that venting did make me feel quite a lot better. And obviously there's so much stuff here that um hello, Jevil. No, not soda. I've actually given up on soda. Unless if I'm sick. This is iced tea. I was trying to think because I went to Burger King today. I was trying to think what would be the healthiest fountain drink because I had a coupon for a medium fountain drink, but I was like, but I don't drink pop anymore. But I want the healthiest thing that they have so that I don't waste the coupon. So I thought sweetened iced tea is probably the healthiest they have. Quite the contrary. I'm actually getting very tired. So, you can call me Paul for the future. For future references, John. Um, my is that supposed to be a joke question? Are my friends featured in my videos? Because I'm pretty sure I made that very obvious that my friends were in my best memories videos. Like, that was the whole idea of the thumbnail. I think there was only one thing on that thumbnail that wasn't related to my friend, and that was the picture of the Switch 2. But even that, like, has undertones of friendship because, like, I've played Mario Kart World with both online and local co-op. Oh, are my friends Catholic? Oh, I'm sorry. I completely misread that. My apologies. I thought you were saying Catholic as in my name is Catholic. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm a bit of a grammar Nazi, so sometimes when people don't use proper grammar, I take it the wrong way. And I didn't mean that as an insult. Yes, most of my friends are Catholics. Not all of them. I do have some non-Catholic friends. I won't say who is what denomination. I think those people, if they want to mention their religions, they can mention that in their own time. But I have a few atheist friends, have a few Protestants, I have a couple who are Messianic Jew. I have a few who like say that they're Catholic, but then they'll like openly disagree with certain doctrines, so I call them Catholics by name only. Um, but most of my friends, I would say, are practicing Catholics. And the ones that aren't, like, I'm the type of person that I try to think more about how we are similar than how we are different. Like, even when I'm thinking about like the difference between guys and girls, like, I'm the type of person that I try to analyze the similarities between the genders more than I do the differences. So, for example, usually what is the most attractive thing on a girl to me personally is when she has something that I also have. So, like, for example, one time my ex girlfriend came over and she hadn't shaved her legs in 3 months. And it was seriously the most attractive thing I had ever seen on her. And you might be wondering, ew, why the heck are you attracted to a hairy leg? Because men have hairy legs as well. And prior to when I was a teenager, I didn't think women grew hair on their legs. So I thought, oh, is that only a male thing? Like, that's so unfair. Why is it that we have to be the hairy ones? And so knowing that they had that mutual thing in common was um, was nice. Bigfoot? I don't know. I've never really seen Bigfoot, so I can't confirm or deny it. But yeah, like other things, like finding out that not every woman can do the splits, finding out that women also have fingers and backs and shoulders, like all of that stuff is what I like to focus on. So when it comes to religion, same thing. I like to look at what do we have in common with all the different religions. So when I'm with my Messianic Jew friends, um, I think, generally speaking, when it comes to our values and our morality, we're pretty much identical. It's just in the doctrinal stuff that we disagree. Like, they'll keep the Feast of Tabernacles. I will say that it's cool, but like if I don't go to it, God's not going to be mad at me. Like, that's mainly the biggest difference, really. And they don't agree with apostolic authority. So, like, they'll go by only what's in the Bible, and like even more so than the Protestants will, which is saying something. But like when she's talking about like her values and like how she sees things politically, we're pretty much completely in agreement. Attraction to all women with long hair. Actually, I don't really care what women's hair look like. She could have short, curly, straight, blonde, brown. I really do not care. The only thing I really don't like women doing with their hair is I don't like it when they dye it. Like, I like the natural look. Like, this hair that you see right here, 100% natural. Well, I should say 99% natural, because I have been taking some medication from the dermatologist to make it thicker because my ears get cold in the wintertime. So it's like a makeshift hat. But apart from that, it's 100% natural. No dye, no straightener, no curler. It's just, am I right wing? I have no clue, William. I think people think that I'm right wing because, I don't do the whole political correctness thing. I don't do the pronoun game. It's either he or her, whatever your biology tells you. But in terms of like where I vote on the political spectrum, I vote for whoever's closest to what the church teaches, be that a liberal, be that a conservative, be it a moderate, whoever's the closest. Because there can be conservatives who are completely ridiculous, and there can be liberals who are talking complete sense, and vice versa. So whenever people ask, who do you associate with politically, I usually will say that from what my friends have told me, I am a moderate with right wing leaning, but I don't know for sure how to verify that. All right, let me catch up with chat. Pretty much right wing by society's definition. I think I would be, but I'm not sure. Anti pronoun. Yeah, I guess it kind of does. Uh, what's that right on my shirt? Love will heal. This is from PJ Anderson. He was one of the musicians for my some of the mission trips that I went on, and I got to meet him in person quite a few times too. There's a picture of himself and me together on my Facebook. Um, some of my earliest YouTube videos are of him playing music on my mission trips, so you can see that as well. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm all about like whenever I wear t-shirts, I like to get a conversation started. I like to either wear something that's related to like something godly or something gaming. I don't like generic t-shirts at all. And that's why I tend to wear t-shirts even in the wintertime, because people are naturally going to be drawn to the front of a shirt more than the back. And there are people that I've ended up really liking that it all started with a t-shirt. I don't know how many of you have heard this story, so please forgive me if some of you are old timers and have been around for a long time, but there was one time I wore my green t-shirt that had the Deathly Hallows symbol on it. And this was back when I was working at the gym. And this one girl said, um, "Hey, what house are you in?" And we became friends after that. So there you go. Not a fan of politics. Honestly, I have no idea about any of that stuff, Jevil. So I can neither confirm nor deny my feelings about Obama. I do know that one general rule of thumb that I do when I talk about politics is I generally vote for whoever is more publicly pro-life. So, and usually it's hard to get a candidate who's 100% pro-life, but I just look at their public statements and like which one is more of an advocate for pro-life. She was already married, so it wasn't it wasn't trying to date her or anything. She was just one of those like I may be married, but okay with having platonic friends kind of girl. And honestly, I haven't seen her in over a year, so it must not have been a very deep friendship. But actually I'm a Hufflepuff, but I don't like yellow, so that's why I don't wear too many yellow t-shirts. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Oh, let's see. Love from India. Oh, is that where you were from this whole time, Red? Well, that's nice. You know, I know of a friend of mine who, I won't say who, but I know of a friend of mine who is marrying someone from India. So, I hope that, how do I word this? I hope that American culture isn't too overwhelming. In fact, let me tell you a funny story. Um, Let me tell you a funny story about India. So I had, yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about, Jevil. You got it. I'm all about the more babies, the merrier. But anyway, what was I saying? I had, well, I have a disorder, Red, where like, sometimes when I'm nervous, I will like lose my train of thought mid-sentence quite a lot. And I won't say what the disorder is. It's not what you're thinking. I'll tell you that much. But my therapist has said, like, yeah, have you ever noticed that, like, you'll completely forget what you were doing? I do not have ADHD, actually. Um, I just have a disorder that makes me lose my train of thought. But usually I get it back pretty soon. But yeah, I had a psychiatrist that was Indian, like not Native American Indian, but like Indian Indian. And she had such a thick accent that for a while I ended up mispronouncing the names of my medication because I didn't know what they were supposed to be called. So I just knew them as how she pronounced it. So one time I went up to the counter to get one of my prescription meds and and I won't say what the name of the medicine is, but I pronounced it the way that an Indian accent would say it. And they looked at me like, "What the heck is that?" And I said, well, this is how it's spelled. And they're like, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to be pronounced. I said, I am so sorry. I had an Indian psychiatrist, so I never knew the American pronunciation for it. Ah, gotta love it. Odorol? What's that? Well, for those of you that are new to this channel, a running joke that I have whenever I do my live streams is that my drinks are my energy gauge, and obviously you guys can't see how much iced tea is left, but I have approximately this much left. So once this is gone, then I am gonna end the stream because I do not have the energy that Twitch streamers do, and that's why I don't stream on Twitch. Is I cannot be the only one talking for that long. You can probably even tell that my voice is starting to get weak. As much as I love talking to you guys, I can't do it every day. One time I tried streaming on a weekly basis because there were these two viewers of mine that loved my live stream so much that they would show up to every single one of them. They made a petition for me to keep live streaming, and I tried to do it every Monday, and I just couldn't do it. It was way too exhausting. How often do I go live? Whenever I can. I, it's unfortunately it's very difficult for me to live stream consistently. Um, and I don't want to get into it, but let's just say that you're lucky if you come to one of my streams. And I know I have friends from Australia that are gonna kill me when they find out when I streamed, but I was having a bad day. I needed to vent, and my friends are usually not good at picking up their phones right when I need them. So I figured, well, if my friends won't do it, then my YouTube audience certainly will. Do I take a lot of medication? Depends on your definition. But I will tell you what one of them is for, and then you can fill in the blanks for the rest of them. One of them is for sleeping. Because, like I said, not much of a morning person. So, like, I might wake up at 11, which you would think is sleeping in quite a lot. But then, like an hour later, I'll already be dead tired. And, well, I don't drink coffee. So it doesn't really help keep me awake. In fact, the only thing that I can think of that actually keeps me awake consistently is changing people's lives. Like, even though I'm not a morning person, I do have a volunteer job where I assistant teach catechism. And when those kids are genuinely learning and I'm like teaching them something and I can just tell that there's that one student who has that piercing look that I can tell she's listening to every single word that I'm saying, that is that is like keeping me awake because like it's like this is getting people into the kingdom of heaven. But when I'm like not doing something that's directly contributing to people's salvation, I'm a zombie. Like, even sometimes when I'm playing video games that aren't directly Catholic, I'm still just like, oh, I'm so tired doing this. And the older I get, the more I need to go to sleep sooner. Well, that's good that your body has become immune. Um, I did get sick earlier this year. It was back in, I think, January. It was such a bad sickness that I thought I was going to die from it. It was just a really bad case of the flu. It was so bad that I was on a diet of nothing but drinks and applesauce for 2 days straight. And I vomited almost all of it out. So, whew, it was rough. But I was so dedicated to my friends during that time period that two of my friends had wanted to hang out with me that weekend. And I said, sorry, but I know you guys don't like being around people who are sick. But since I don't like canceling things, how about we have a video call? And even though I was so sick and my voice was so shot, we had a video call anyway. I just said, guys, I'm not going to imitate voices because I know you love it when I imitate Harry Potter characters. I'm just not going to do that today. I like being thin. No, I seriously do love it. There should be a, well, I wouldn't say pride because that's one of the seven deadly sins, but I do hope that there's a shirt that says like thin and proud of it. I remember I went to the gym a couple of weeks ago. I shouldn't say a couple of weeks ago, it was a couple of months ago. It was in October to be exact. And one of the customers was wearing a black t-shirt with a skeleton on it. And she said, hey, look, Paul, I'm dressing up as you for Halloween because I'm just skin and bones. And I laughed so hard at that because I love it. Um, it's not perfect. Um, I would say that being thin means you constantly have rib problems. Like when your skin is so stretched and then you're like leaning over to do something, like as soon as you bump into those ribs, you're in so much pain. Like I remember when I was leaning over to clean stuff, like my ribs were just constantly sore. And then there's also like the occasional person that thinks you're anorexic. So, not always it's not as glamorous as most people think, but I like it more than any other man I know. All right. Top 5 verses for different books of the Bible. I'd have to think about that because I would say my favorite Bible verse is from John 15:13, and that's the greatest love is to lay down your life for a friend. In case you guys couldn't tell by now, I'm a sucker for friendship. I love my friends so much, and I'm going to be super cheesy about it. And if you guys think, Paul, why is your channel so cheesy? It was cheesy since day one. I've since unlisted the video because it's so cringy, but my very first video was me singing about wanting a hug. So, there you go. What's your question, Jevil? As long as it's I better not say that because I don't want to be made fun of, but try to keep it not too insensitive. Does SI directly okay, so for those of you that don't know what Dora is talking about, that's a psychology-based question. SI is an abbreviation for introverted sensing, and it basically means that when you're thinking of the real world, you're going to have more of an emphasis on personal experiences as opposed to intrapersonal. So, like a person with SE or extroverted sensing is going to be focusing more on, um, like if you see a chair, if a person has SE, they would say, "Oh, that's a chair. That looks comfy. I'll sit on the chair. Ooh, it's a nice texture of the chair." When I see a chair, as someone with introverted sensing, I will say, "Ooh, that chair kind of reminds me of a chair that I sat on at my grandpa's house. That's not quite as comfortable as the chair that I had before. That's a different texture, different length." So contrast versus in the moment is the short answer. Yes, actually. Anyone can have a bad recall, but for me, it's just a disorder. But like, I have a very, very, very good long-term memory. Like, I can tell you stuff that happened 15 years ago, almost as if it was still happening yesterday, but I won't because I know people are annoyed by that. But like, if you were to say, Paul, where were you sitting on your very first mission trip? I'd be able to tell you the answer to that. You probably wouldn't believe me, but it's there. Do I still talk to Todoroki? Uh, Unfortunately, Skype no longer exists, and she hasn't answered my emails in a long time, so I don't know what the heck has happened to her. Fasting as a spiritual practice. Very nice, John. Very nice. For me personally, I don't know too much about what the Bible says about like what weight you should be, because again, like what is considered overweight by Bible standards. But I do know that the Bible talks about like don't be gluttonous and like share your meals with other people. So there's that to consider, but what is considered gluttonous? That's why I love being Catholic is you're never unsure of what the Bible says because you can just look up what did the apostles teach that it meant. But no, my doctors say that I can afford to gain weight and I still wouldn't be in the danger zone. Oh, no, 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 no. We are not having comments like that. Nope, not gonna happen. Nope, just end of discussion. Not happening. But regardless, welcome in, Joe. Hope you're having a great day. Um, Anything? I completely forgot to ask you guys. I'm sorry. I was, what's the word? I was so focused on my problems, I forgot to think about you guys. I don't know if it's a troll. If it is, I'll remove it. But, I am just so tired of people bringing up the whole thanking God for it controversy. I have a whole video about it. You can watch it so that I don't have to repeat myself. Just the video is called I deleted the meme video early. Here's why. Again, go watch it on your own time. But oh my gosh, yes. Yes. It was so terrible. I considered it among the top 5 worst moments of my life. 2024 was the number 1 worst moment. I won't say what happened because I'm not allowed to. 2009, that was another really bad year, and then uh, that that was ugh. Oh, it was so bad. I was getting stomach aches. I was getting headaches. Uh, yeah, yeah. We do not talk about that anymore. And anyone that ever references it, I either delete the comment, I misdirect. Oh, that's okay. I should apologize to you. I thought that you were just messing with me. But yeah. Nowadays, I hope that people can come to my channel because they genuinely like my newer stuff, as opposed to just, oh hey, look, it's a silly meme. Let's see if this is real. What? He still uploads? The hundreds of comments I've gotten about that drive my gears absolutely insane. In fact, that's the whole reason for why I was having this stream, was I was just so sick and tired of, yo, Instagram, I saw a reel of you. Oh, it's because of that video again. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, just you can watch that video if you want the full story, but oof, it was rough. But anyway, glad you could make it in. How is everyone else's days going? Um, I have very little iced tea left, so I'm probably not gonna stick around too much longer. But I do want to hear from you guys. If you guys have good news, if there's anything you want to say about like how your day is going, I want to hear it. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to type that out. Thank you, Joe. I hope that gives you some answers. Ready for Christmas. Very nice, Jevel. Very nice. I love Christmas. It's my second favorite time of the year. I love um I love seeing the joy on people's faces when they get exactly what they want. Lonely? Can we be friends? On two conditions. The first condition is they have to be at least 18 because I really don't want to get in trouble. The second condition is that you have to be the type that's insanely loyal. Because I've had people that have asked to be friends and then we'll like exchange emails and stuff like that. And I would think that it's going really well. And then that person will just like randomly disappear. And then like I'll have to send an email saying, can we be friends? Or like, are we still friends? What the heck happened? So no disappearing, be honest, and be 18. And there you go. And then if you fit all that criteria, then my email is in the channel description. So you can go ahead and email me with that. But if you're 17 or under, I really don't want to take any chances. There are very strict rules in my religion about like interacting with minors, and I don't want to interact with minors in a one-on-one setting, um, unless if it's in a public setting, because people can accuse you for anything, and I just want to cover my bases. Past YouTuber in a live stream? Pledge your loyalty, very nice. Now just you talking to me or are you talking to Jevel, William? Because I'm not sure what you mean by that. So I am out of iced tea, so no, I still talk to minors if it's in a public setting. Like, you know, being a teacher, um obviously when you're a teacher, you have to interact with minors somewhat. But, you know, you want to make sure that it's you want to make sure that it's like in a setting where no one could misconstrue your intentions. But I think that might be a cue to change the subject. Okay, I'm getting tired, so I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds. Alright. I don't know why people are fighting. I can't. It's our as long as you promise you're 18 or older, then yes, you can absolutely email me, William. I'm glad I was able to help you, John. That's good to hear. Hey, this stream helped me too, so thank you guys very much. You can find my email on my channel description. Go to the About section where I talk about like what is my channel about, and there will be a tab that says like for business inquiries. But again, be at least 18 and don't be the type that's just going to randomly disappear. Like if you decide you want to break off contact, be clear about it. Don't just randomly stop talking and door slam. That is like a major, major boundary that I can't stand it when people do that. Thankfully, thankfully there was a person that did that in my past that has apologized. Okay, 30s is good. Very nice. All right, guys, I'm calling it here. But a real quick recap, just in case someone comes in at the last minute when I'm ready to head out at stream and wants to hear a recap. Um, Send me intelligent comments, or just don't comment at all. But just the spammy stuff, ugh. That's even worse than dislikes, in my opinion. Try to make it at least a full sentence and not something that I've heard 100 times, like, "Oh, you sound like a girl. Oh, you're so thin." Like I've heard that so many times. I don't need to hear it again. Um, be 18 or older if you're going to email me. That's another big thing. And what was the third thing? I forgot. But it was good talking to you guys. I hope you all have um, a wonderful day, and hope you end up having a better day than I did. So until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.